All right, here we are, John Jorgensen back with you. We've had a couple of years hiatus. COVID was certainly a big factor in the way things have gone for us. Today we're recording our first podcast episode in the Stanley Martin Custom Home Studios in Vienna, Virginia. And I've got our president with us, Michael Schnitzer. Welcome back, Mike.
Hey, John. Good to see you.
It's been...
Although I see you every day.
You do, yes. Yeah, it's good. It's good to be back chatting in front of the microphones, for sure. Yeah. So today we want to talk a little bit about smart homes.
Okay.
And, you know, the interesting thing about smart homes is they were created, the buying process, the selections process, and the building process was all designed around the COVID restrictions that were put in place by the government.
Correct.
Back in
Absolutely.
2020.
Yeah.
So why did they do that? Can you explain what was the logic?
So there was two things. I would say one, supply chain issues. So we had to reduce the number of parts and pieces so that we could, with a much higher degree of certainty, if there was a disruption again, be able to get the parts. So for instance, Stanley Martin at the neighborhood level, at the large home building level, has a manufacturing center that partnered with another United Window Companies, name of the company, and there's a dedicated center that just builds Stanley Martin windows.
It's amazing.
Right? So that's good. And you know, if Stanley Martin had, at one point, I'm going to make this up, 200 different faucets and fixtures and whatever, it is hard to control.
Right.
But working with Kohler, right, and other brand manufacturers, we've limited the number of nicer, refined fixtures to make sure we could source them and not have a problem if this occurs again.
Right.
So that was the big thing. The other thing was how to reduce the interaction with COVID, social distancing, and whatever. So we had to remove some of the interactions to simplify the process and remove the face-to-face meetings. And we still do face-to-face meetings now.
Right.
But initially, we weren't doing any face-to-face because of the, the lockdown.
And you're thinking also from the perspective of the design studio selections process,
Correct.
right? So
Correct.
Pre-COVID,
Right.
if you bought a house from Stanley Martin Custom Homes or Stanley Martin,
Right.
you would have multiple meetings with the design studio
Correct.
manager.
Right.
And you would select your cabinets for each bathroom. You would select different faucets for each bathroom and things like that. And when COVID came along and when Stanley Martin created the smart home purchasing process, now you're buying packages.
Correct.
So they were able to, the design studio managers were able to go over the packages remotely, very simply,
right,
and people could easily understand what they were getting throughout their entire home.
Right, and so we created digital assets. The corporate, along with Stanley Martin Customs, created packages that some of them are highly refined, right? Some of them are value proposition. But so you have different tranches, different packages to resonate with the different buyer. But instead of ad hoc, I want this faucet and that faucet, and this bathroom and that bathroom, and this tile and this vanity and this and this and this. All of a sudden, you get to a 10 factorial, right? Where you are exploding in decisions and contacts and whatever. And so I've had several customers from the smart home process say at the end of the process it was the best thing they ever did because they were unencumbered. Right. It was very easy, and they love their home.
Yeah.
So
it's always amazing the unintended consequences because this was put in place because of COVID. Right. And for me, being on the front line with the customers every day, to me it was a big sacrifice and a step back, and we have to do it because of COVID. Yeah. The irony is, it turns out everybody loves it. The buyers love it, and we're keeping the program and we're pushing it forward and we're embracing it because the feedback we're getting from the public is we want a new house.
Right.
We don't want to spend hundreds of hours, picking things and going back and forth about what faucet goes with what cabinet and what countertop goes with this and that. So it's really amazing the response from the public.
Yeah, it's also a better value proposition because the lift on a custom home in terms of resources, forget decision making and forget price.
Right.
Just the lift is so unencumbering. I mean, there's still encumbrances, using that term kind of loosely, as it relates. You still have to prepare the grading plan, you have to go through the permitting process, but it is so exponentially easier for everybody. Look, one size doesn't fit all. Some people want to get into the weeds and work through every decision, and that comes with the price.
Yep.
Others were, wow, I really like that package. Maybe there's one or two things like, maybe I would have changed it. But at the macro level, it's so easy.
Yeah.
It is so easy.
And I think to summarize, you're choosing your floor plan.
Correct.
From the Stanley Martin Library of Plans that they're currently building. Then you're choosing your finish package, right? We right now have 4 price levels. So we have the classic, the signature, the tailored, and the premier.
Correct.
And when you choose a package, within those levels, you have 4 different options in finishes. So you have classic A, B, C, and D. You have signature A, B, C, and D. So for example, if you pick signature B, that denotes all of your finishes for the entire home, right?
Correct.
And then beyond that, there are things you can choose a la carte.
Right.
For example, appliances.
Right.
Right. And what other things can you choose a la carte?
Well, there's electrical, right? If you want to add outlets, things of that nature. So there are some a la carte. I mean, it's toned down, so that it's not a plethora, but there are some a la carte finishes, that you features maybe that you can pick from, right. So for instance, I'll just give you an example, and this is really jurisdictional driven, but in Montgomery County, by code, you have to put in a car charger, right. Not so in Virginia. So Virginia, it's an option. In Maryland, we force the option by selecting it. Right. I mean, obviously that's kind of a nid, but there are things out there that we have to bring in, and people have to choose. But there are some things that that customers can select. Right. But it's significantly less. And for the most part, I would say there are things that customers say, oh, yeah, that makes sense. I'm glad I can add 4 outlets or whatever because I want to put an extra, multimedia outlet over here and blah, blah, blah. So, there's just some of that we have to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you want to be able to have some customizations.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
So back to the summary. So the buying process is simplified.
Oh, yeah.
It's, because you're choosing your floor plan, and then you're adding your options like a morning room or a side guest suite or finishing the rec room, the attic level.
Garage.
So you're choosing your options from a menu. Then the selections process is simplified because you're choosing one of the 16 packages.
Yeah. I would say there's 4 collections. Right. And within the collections, there are some things that you can do, but I think saying that you have nominally 16, that's becomes too much. Right. So within each package there are some changes. But I would say there are 4 packages.
4 packages, and then you have some different options within each package. Some changes, but it is a standard purchasing process. You're choosing all your finishes for the whole house by making that selection.
And for some people, they love it. Again, I know I'm being redundant, but some people are like, wow, why you have me boxed in? But that's the pack. That's what we have.
I think the vast majority of the people like it. Because it just it frees them up to focus on their life instead of designing a home.
And I can tell you, I'm going through this now with, our custom home customers and our smart home customers, right? So you take Customer removes the contingency, boom, I get them the plan and it's done.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we still got to go in for permit and whatnot. Within a couple weeks, 2 weeks, done. Right?
Right.
For custom homes, where people are making changes and they're looking at it, and then I'm doing sketches and whatever, 2 weeks, no, 2 months, maybe, 3 months, maybe.
Yeah.
It's not that we're slowing down the process, but they're like, what if we do this? And what if we do that? So let me see this, and let me see that, and what's the price of this, and what's the price of that? They kind of go down a little bit of a rabbit hole, and I let them go because it's their experience. Right. And it just takes that timeline and expands it tremendously.
Yeah, and
for the most part.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So simplified buying process, simplified design process, simplified building process.
Plan development process.
Plan development, yeah.
And then simplified build process, because the trades have built the same homes with the same options many times, and they're not having to look through a menu of 300 non-standard changes. When you get into that, you're getting into the potential for human error. You're getting into the absolute added costs, where now instead of a trade saying, oh, well, you're building a Stanley Martin house with these options and it's kind of like a la carte, boom, they can send their trades out and get the work done. Oh, you're building this home, I'll just use the framer, and you have 25 options from all kinds of really nuanced stuff. It takes a lot of time to get that right, and to check it and to review it, and sometimes to make changes in the field. It's like two different animals, right?
Yeah, it is.
One's a zebra and one's an elephant, and they're totally different.
Right.
Totally different.
Yep. So when you're building a smart home, how much more quickly is the home built versus a customized home?
That's a lot. If I get rid of utilities like septic and things of that nature, I would say we're building the smart homes at least at less. Building a custom home is at minimum double the time as building a neighborhood series. It's building a smart home. Could be more. Depends how big it is and depends how nuanced. Right. So if we're building a home, let's say in 5 months, I'm just picking it. It wouldn't surprise me that the neighborhood series, a custom home, is 10 months, is 16 months, if we get into some really refined customization, I mean, there's a lot going on. Shop drawings, as-built draw. I mean, there's just a lot to it. And people just don't understand because they're not in the business. And then there's a lot more work for the customer too. And that's going to be another episode. We're going to talk about that next in another recording. But so simplified buying, design, planning, building, and then it reduces the timeline, and it reduces the customer's commitment to the process throughout. Absolutely.
So for our buyers that are busy, many of our buyers have families that they're trying to raise, getting kids to soccer, getting kids to school. They love it. Love it. And it was really an unintended consequences. We had to do it to survive COVID. We had to create this program to manage the supply chain issues, the social distancing, but it turns out it's an amazing thing.
Right. And I would say as a one-to-one, if you look at the three buckets again, we always talk about house, site, and land, right? So land's not getting any less expensive. Site is also not getting any less expensive based on jurisdictional requirements that continue to burden the plan development and the cost to developing the site. So the only thing that we can truly affect is the house price, and that's by offering this smart home process. Smart home plan.
So as we start to wrap up, I want to just ask you about some of the things that happen with buyers. Like, for example, somebody wants to buy a smart home and they'll say to me, John, we don't want the sink in the island. We want the sink over here. And can we make changes like that in the smart home program?
Yeah. So it depends. When we get into this nuanced bag, it's kind of like we're standing on the edge of a cliff.
Right.
Because 1 turns into 2, turns into 3, then my trades say, this isn't what I signed up for with the value price. And then we get into eroding our margins. It's just, it's an unintended consequence.
Right.
If it's something like, can you move my sink and my dishwasher? The answer is likely yes.
Yeah.
Right?
But technically,
no.
Right.
Technically, no. We want to build the way we've packaged this program, or it will break down.
Right.
And we will not be able to offer it.
Right. So the commitment from our subcontractors is that if we buy the home, build the home, following the same policies and procedures that Stanley Martin Corporate has in place.
Right. Here's the price.
Here's
You're
the
good
price.
to go.
Exactly. So as soon as we start moving the sink and this and that, now we're getting extra charges, number one. And number two,
because they've got to put now they got to revise. I mean,
the
for
plan.
that simple,
revise
the plan, revise the cabinet layout. The electrician and the plumber have to revise where the rough-ins are. It's just a cascade of little things, and now they've got to dedicate their back office to get this
resources,
done. So, and then they're like, oh, well, what if something goes wrong in the field now? So now we better. And I don't know this for a fact. We may need to change how much it's costing to do this. It's just a cascade.
It gets to be a mess.
It gets to be a mess.
And it breaks the whole business model of the smart home program.
Right. And it ruins it for other buyers.
Right.
It will absolutely take it down.
Right. So we got to be careful with that.
Very careful.
So I think, is there anything else? So it's a great program. We love it. The buyers love it. The subcontractors love it. Our project managers love it. Is there anything else that you want to add about
I would say
smart
more
homes?
in a little bit of a joking sense. We can only sell it to people who are smart. That's all I can say.
Yeah, that's perfect. All right, Mike. Well, listen, it's great to have you back in the studio. It's been 5 years since we sat down in a real studio. We've been recording remotely in various places. So we now officially have our first recording in the can at the Stanley Martin Custom Home Studios in Vienna, Virginia.
Great. Good seeing you, John.
All right, good to see you.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.